How are you guys? Welcome to today's program. How are you guys? Been a long time. Well, please indicate your name and where you are watching from once you join the program. Kindly indicate your name and area you're watching from. Okay? Yep. All right. Today, I'm going to be discussing about cholesterol warning sign inside the heart arteries. Please, if my audio is not clear, draw my attention on the comment section to adjust my audio if you can't hear me properly. All right. If you can't hear me properly, draw my attention on the comment sections so that I can adjust my audio. I'm streaming on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. So you have multiple areas you can watch from. All right, so we're going to be talking about cholesterol today. Why cholesterol? You're going to find out why cholesterol instead of the normal topic of diabetics. So we're going to be discussing about cholesterol, and I'm going to be checking the board here to make sure I don't miss any question. All right, to make sure I don't miss any question here. Let's see, I'm trying to make sure I do not miss any question here. So I'm going to be going in. Catherine has joined. Hi, how are you? Miss has joined. How are you? I have two messages. I'm gonna check the messages on TikTok and know what it is. All right. For those, I said I'm streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok. So we're going to be discussing about cholesterol. That is the topic I choose today. We're going to be discussing about cholesterol. And then I take it from there. I'm going to just wait for a few minutes for everybody to join. Welcome to those that are watching me on YouTube. You are welcome. You are welcome. All right. Okay, so the topic today is going to be, I'm going to have 12 new messages on. Regina, you're welcome. So we're discussing about cholesterol, the warning sign inside the heart arteries. You guys know about cholesterol. We've discussed about diabetics, we have cholesterol, and also high blood pressure. These three diseases are linked. Okay? They are the three chronic diseases that are linked. Okay, one can lead to the other if not properly checked. You might have diabetics and don't have cholesterol issues or don't have high blood pressure issues. But if you don't control your cholesterol, if you don't treat it properly and if you don't control your sugar level, your diabetics, okay? If you don't control your diabetics and leave your sugar level to be high for a long period of time, can lead you to develop cholesterol. The same thing, if you don't treat diabetics again and you allow it to prolong, can also lead you to have high blood pressure. So that is why three of these diseases are linked. They are linked. So it is important if you're diabetics. There are a lot of people that are diabetics, they don't have cholesterol issues and they don't have high blood pressure issues. But later on along the line, down the road, you see them develop cholesterol issues or high blood pressure. So if you're diabetics, you must make sure you take care of your diabetic situation at all times before it can lead you to have cholesterol or high blood pressure, and that's going to be another expenses again for you to take care of. All these three diseases are terminal illnesses. They are chronic illnesses. You have to live with them for the rest of your life. Yes, from time to time you're going to control them. It's normal. Then when you take your eyes out of it again, it goes up again. So it's a continuous cycle of disease that is called a long-term chronic illness. They are all terminal. So it is important that you take, if you're diabetic now and don't have cholesterol issues, to make sure you handle your cholesterol, handle your diabetes very well. Ruth, you are welcome. Yes, how do you treat it? Heal completely. Ruth is asking me a question on the, he said, how do you treat cholesterol issues? All right. Cholesterol, okay. Somebody's asking me a question on Facebook. Ruth says, how do you treat cholesterol issues? Now, the same thing as diabetics or high blood pressure issues. You may be diabetic, and don't need medication to treat diabetics. It's not compulsory, you must be on medication to treat diabetics. Diabetes is all about changing your lifestyles, and then also reducing your weight, and also exercise. There are thousands of people who are diabetic. They have never for one day taken any medication, and they were able to control their diabetic situations and live a normal life. So the same thing with cholesterol. Cholesterol, if you're able to, you don't need to be on medication. It's all about modifying your lifestyle changes, what you eat, what you drink, reducing your weight, and then being active, exercise. All right? Then if you know it's very hard for you to keep those three things, then they can put you on medications. There are several medications you take once in a day to bring your cholesterol down. Now, we have two types of cholesterol. We have the good cholesterol, and we have the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL and HPL, okay? So there are two types of cholesterol. We have the good one, we have the bad one. So you always make sure that your good one is on top and the bad one is lower. So you treat cholesterol by your dieting, exercising, reducing your weight, or combination of medications and those things, and your lifestyle changes. So it's kind of two ways. So when you say how do you treat it, it's all about modifying your lifestyle changes, eating a healthy food, exercising, reducing your weight. Sometimes they can combine both of them to put your medications, and they advise you to also watch what you eat and also exercise and so reduce your weight. So this is how to treat cholesterol. So you could be on medication, 1 tablet a day, or it could be a combination of both lifestyle changes and also medications. Okay, so that is it. Now, Ruth, I believe I've answered your question, but if you are going to be hanging around Ruth as we go on to discuss the warning signs, you could get more information on how to treat cholesterol. So now, let's talk about high cholesterol and then heart. Okay? Now, what is cholesterol? You have to understand what is cholesterol. First of all, you have to understand what is that cholesterol. Why do we have to be worried about cholesterol? Now, cholesterol is a fatty, waxy substance that the body needs to make new cells and hormone. We need cholesterol to make cells and hormone, and they are waxy substances. Now, that is the advantage of cholesterol. We need it to make cells for the body and hormones for the body. But when it becomes too much, it becomes bad to our health. Now, it is an essential element of the body to function properly, okay, for those cells and hormones, for your body to function properly. Then when it becomes excess, the excess amount can pose a serious threat to the heart. So when you have excess cholesterol, more than that is required, can pose a threat to the heart. That is why those fatty, waxy substances become dangerous. All right? Becomes dangerous. Now, why is it a threat to the heart? Okay? Why is it a threat to the heart? Hold on, let me see what this guy is saying here. That is what I'm discussing now, so you have to get patient. I'm reading what you just... Okay, along the line, I'm going to answer your questions in what we're discussing. So just be patient. Just be patient. You're going to understand. So why is cholesterol a threat to the heart when it becomes excess in the body. What do I say? We need cholesterol to produce cells and hormones. That is the advantage why we need cholesterol. But when it becomes excess, it puts a threat to the heart. Why? Cholesterol is a waxy substance. Now, inside your artery, okay, when your artery, the circumference of your artery is as wide as arteries is. Now, blood can flow through the arteries to any part of the body easily. Now, in that blood that your heart pumps into the arteries carries a very important nutrient that the brain needs, oxygen. Because oxygen is transported through the blood to the brain. So when the arteries are all wide, the heart performs less function in pumping the blood through the arteries to carry oxygen to the brain and to all parts of the body. And they return the blood back to the chamber again to be recycled, cleaned up, and then pumped back again. So for instance, if the arteries are as wide as this, it means the heart, when it's pumping the blood can go easily and travel easily to the brain to supply oxygen and to every part of the body. Now, when you start developing cholesterol, that is, when you start developing cholesterol issues, now assume that this is the artery size. Now, when you start developing cholesterol, the waxy substance of that cholesterol forms a wall, a plaque in those arteries. It forms a plaque in those arteries. And then the arteries will not narrow to this size. Before it was this side, blood can flow easily, but because of that plaque, the waxy substance sticking to the walls of the arteries, it narrows the arteries to be small, making it very difficult for the blood to pump blood in here to carry oxygen to the blood. Now your heart is now working extra hours to pump blood because the arteries have narrowed because of the presence of waxy substances called cholesterol sticking to the wall. Now your heart is going to be working over extra hours to force blood to go through and carry oxygen to the brain. So there was a time the heart can give up because it is working over time to pump blood through those narrow arteries to get oxygen to the brain. That's why sometimes you see some people just collapse and die because they have heart attack because the heart is overworking to get oxygen to the brain. So that is how excess cholesterol can pose a threat to the heart. I'm just trying to summarize it. Okay, Frederick, you're welcome. How are you? Frederick, how are you? Ruth, I believe you are listening. Brian, you're welcome. Okay, so that is how cholesterol poses threat to the heart. Okay, I'm just trying to summarize it. I don't want to go into details. Benjamin, I believe, I believe you've I've answered part of your question. So cholesterol is the wax found in the body cells, as I was trying to explain, found in the body cells, and it's needed for their healthy growth. Those sticking to the walls of those arteries is what causes a problem because it narrows the arteries. And once the arteries are narrowed, it makes it very difficult for blood to flow through it. Okay, so that is why you have to be very, very careful in managing your cholesterol. It is important you become very, very careful in managing your cholesterol issues because once the arteries are narrowed, it makes it very difficult for blood to flow in there and get us into the brain. So that is why too much excess cholesterol in the body poses a threat to the heart. So I'm trying to give you guys an idea of what cholesterol is all about before we go to the warning signs inside the heart. There are symptoms. Now, some of the symptoms of cholesterol are mild or invisible. You might not even notice that you have high cholesterol issues until you get to the advanced stage. So it is something like diabetics. Some diabetes symptoms are mild and invisible. You don't even know that you have diabetes until you get to an advanced stage before you start seeing the symptoms. So the same thing with cholesterol issues also. All right. So let's. Let me go to the next. All right. I'm going to try to see what is going on here. Please, if my audio is not clear, let me know to adjust my audio. All right. If you can't hear me properly, let me know in the comment sections to adjust my audio. I'm streaming on TikTok now, YouTube, and on the Facebook. So you have various platforms you can watch me from. All right. So let's look at the warning symptoms or the warning signs of heart blockage due to cholesterol. What are the warning signs? Every disease has some symptoms. There are warning signs that come to them. Some of them can start with mild and then progress. So we're going to look at the warning signs. what are the warning signs of cholesterol? Okay, what are the warning signs of cholesterol? Now, as I said, when there is an excess amount of cholesterol, what happens? Okay, in the body, most of it gets accumulated inside the heart arteries. The arteries is what takes in blood from the heart to various parts of the body, including the brain, where the oxygen is needed. So anything that inhibits the flow of blood through those arteries poses a threat to the heart. Okay? So that makes it very difficult for blood to flow properly to all organs of the body where they are needed. Remember, we need cholesterol to make cells and hormones. Now, this can cause a serious problem and even fatal condition. That's why some people have heart attack. You may see somebody just collapse and die. All right, because the heart, there's a blockage along the arteries, the oxygen is not getting to the brain. So all of a sudden the person just faints, collapse, and die because of excessive overworking of the heart, and then the blood is not flowing through the arteries to get oxygen to the brain. There is a blockage somewhere that oxygen is not getting to the brain. When there's a limited supply of oxygen to the brain, you have that the high risk of you developing heart attack rises. Oxygen must get to the brain faster as soon as possible. So if there's any blockage in the arteries and blood is not flowing properly to get oxygen to the brain, you are prone to have a heart attack or even fatal or even death. Okay? So the remedy to avert such problem is to be aware of the signs and symptoms of what? Cholesterol. Now, number one sign. Okay, where I'm discussing a specific warning signs of high cholesterol issues inside the heart. Okay, we are discussing a specific issue. Okay, Rosa, you're welcome. Those that are watching me on YouTube, send in your question. All right. So now let's talk about let's talk about the warning signs. Okay, what are the warning signs of high cholesterol issues inside the heart? All right, what are the warning signs? I'll be fine. I'm okay. I'm all right. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you very much. I'm fine. I'll be fine. Rosa, you say, what type of food can we avoid or minimize in order to be out of risk All right, Rosa, you're asking a question on Facebook. I'll be okay. Thank you, guys. I'll be all right. I'm fine. I'm just going through a personal issue, so it's taking a toll, but I'll be okay. All right. Okay. Let me answer Rosa's question. It says, what type of food can we avoid or minimize in order to be out of risk of cholesterol? Okay. Rosa, you got to be very careful in terms of any food that okay, first of all, let me start from this angle. Avoid patronizing fast food joints. Avoid patronizing fast food joints, because Rosa in Facebook is asking, what type of food can we avoid or minimize in order to be out of risk because of cholesterol? First of all, avoid patronizing fast food joints. All these fast food joints, okay, Mr. Biggs, whatever, Tantalizer, all those food they sell on the street, avoid them as much as you can. Because of what? The kinds of oil they use is saturated oil or trans fat oil. All those oils contain high cholesterol. Why I say avoid patronizing fast food joint is because they are there to make profit. They are not there to cater for your personal health. So they will have to maximize profit. And most of those fast food joints or those food they sell on the street side, most of them use trans fat oil or saturated oil. And those oil contains a lot of cholesterol, high in fat. That is why you have to avoid it. That's number one. To avoid if you are going to, say for instance, you're going to fry, always use olive oil or vegetable oil. Okay? Vegetable oil or olive, those are very expensive. Okay, but other than that, you have to avoid all kinds of oil because of the high content of fat and cholesterol in them. Now, one thing again is that, like palm oil. In Africa, we have a lot of palm oil. Those palm oil contains a lot of cholesterol. So you have to avoid, I know in Africa, especially in the Western Africa, where they use palm oil to prepare soup. That palm oil is a killer. It is number one killer of most men in Africa because of the high content of cholesterol in those palm oil. When you're preparing soup in Africa, you see them pour a lot of palm oil there, those red oil there, and it contains a lot of cholesterol. And when those fats are building, they build around your heart. Okay, they build around your heart, making it very difficult for your heart to populate, okay, to be able to squeeze in blood in and out. So those fats goes and build and accumulate around the heart, putting more pressure on the heart to function properly. So avoid palm oil. If you're going to use it a little, once in a while, but very little. Avoid patronizing all those fast food joints or those food they sell on the street. Prepare your food at home. At least you're going to prepare a healthy food. Okay, mostly vegetables are good for you. All right, vegetables are good for you. The food you cook at home is more healthy than those food you buy outside. Because with those ones you buy outside, you don't know what they're cooking with. They are there just to make money. So trans fat oil, everything, all those processed food in can, those processed food they seal in can, stay away from them because they are all processed. Okay, and again, exercise is very important. Key to exercise is very important to reduce your weight and to burn those fat out. So these are some of the examples of certain foods you have to avoid. Eat more vegetable food. Fruit and vegetables are key. Avoid patronizing fast food joints. Avoid trans fat oil or saturated oil. Fried food, all those fried chicken, all those fried potato fries, avoid it. Instead of fried chicken, grill it. Grill your chicken. Okay? Grill your chicken instead of frying them. So you have to avoid all those things. So those are some of the examples of how to, Rosa, some of the things you have to do, the kinds of food. There are a lot of things, a lot of food I'm supposed to list, but I'm just giving you examples of things to do to avoid cholesterol issues. Okay? All right. Any other question before we continue? Okay, I'm talking about the warning sign. I said number one, warning sign of high cholesterol inside your heart. Number one sign is unusual pain and discomfort in your legs and feet. So I'm not discussing the warning signs. Okay, the warning signs is unusual pain and discomfort in your legs and feet. That's number one sign. Okay. Now, when you have frequent leg pain, okay, especially when you are walking or when you are exercising or at night time, okay, now that's a sign of blocked heart. When you are having frequent leg pain, when you are walking around or mainly at night time, that's a symptom or a sign of blocked heart. Now, this pain, this pain is termed claudications. That's what we call claudications, okay? Occurs due to the narrow arteries supplying less blood to the legs. So claudications is when you have those arteries are narrowed, because they are narrowed due to the clogging of the arteries. Enough blood is not supplied to the leg, and you have this frequent leg pain, and that's a sign of blocked arteries, and that demand medical emergency. anytime you have that blocked heart and you're having frequent pain in your legs, that requires medical emergency. Because that's what is going to happen. Your arteries are going to burst, or your heart is going to burst, and then you collapse and die. I've lost a friend due to that. I've lost a friend due to that blocked arteries in the leg. Okay, so it is important anytime you're having frequent pain in your legs, when you're walking around, and especially at night when you're lying down, that's a sign of what? Blocked heart. It means you have claudications, that is due to narrow arteries, less blood is supplied to the leg areas. That's number one symptoms. Okay? Now let's go to number two. Number two is numbness or weightlessness. Number two is numbness or weightlessness. When you have numbness or weightlessness in your legs or in your feet. So, okay? So number two warning sign is what? Numbness or weightlessness. So people with heart blockages. People with heart blockages might also feel their legs and feet going into numb or weak. You know, sometimes you feel weakness in your legs. It's like your leg cannot carry you. Okay? Especially when you are resting, okay, or in activities. Let me say, see that your legs are numb. Okay? It's like they are light, weak. You can't even carry you. Okay? That's a sign of deficient blood supplies in around your legs. So when you start feeling numbness or weak in your leg, it means there's deficiency of blood supplies in those areas. And that requires you to go and see a doctor immediately. So number two is numbness or weightlessness in your legs. Let's go to number three, constant cold feet. Number three, when you are having constant cold feet. Okay? When you are having constant cold feet. So you're having constant cold feet even though when the weather is warm, your legs are constantly cold. Okay? Surrounding your feet areas, okay? Even when the weather is warm. Okay? Your feet may frequently feel icy if there is any heart blockage. You are in the room is warm, you are outside, the outside is warm, but why are you feeling coldness in around your feet? Means blood is not circulating or less blood is going into those areas. So that is what is causing poor blood circulations. The symptoms is more noticeable during the night time. Okay? During the night time, that is when the symptoms are most noticeable. So that's number three warning signs when you have constant cold feet, even though when the room or the room, wherever you are, is warm. Let's go to YouTube. YouTube, I'm not hearing from you guys. Nobody said anything on YouTube. TikTok, nobody said anything on TikTok. Ask your question. So when you have constant cold feet, mostly at bedtime, when the room is warm or wherever is warm, and you're having constant cold, it means there's poor blood circulations in your leg. Okay, and that's a symptoms of heart blockage. So what we're talking about, I'm being specific. And anytime you have these symptoms of cold feet or numbness or weakness in your feet, it means there's a blocked arteries. Blood is not circulating. That is medical emergency. You have to report yourself to the nearest clinic or hospital to be taken care of. Because what is the next thing that is going to happen when blood are not circulating properly in around your legs? So blood is going to travel from your heart to the brain and all the way to your leg area, and then they are not allowed to go through. Okay, it means the blood is stuck now. So the blood that are going around, when they come, they are piling up because they are not going through. There comes a time that is going to burst your heart, and then blood is going to start coming out of your heart, and they slump and die. I've lost a friend due to that. So anytime you have a blocked arteries or blocked valves in your legs, and you're having it's a medical emergency, to go and see your doctor and find out which arteries that are blocked and open it. They could use a shockwave. There's something we call shockwave therapy. Shockwave therapy can solve it, or they can use an infrared devices to open those so that blood can flow. Okay, so number three symptoms is cold feet. When you're having constantly cold feet, even when the rooms are warm. All right, now let's go to the next one is swelling in legs and feet. When you have swelling in your legs and feet. Okay, swelling in your legs and feet. Brian, you are not saying anything. You're just quiet. Ruth, are you there? Rosa, are you there? Brian, are you there? Can you confirm? I want to know those who are still here. I'm not going to be much today. I'm going to spend about half an hour, and then so I'm not going to waste much time today. I just want to touch base with my fans because I've been a while that I've not been here. So I just want to touch base with you guys. I'm just going to watch. I'm just reading your comments. I'm just going to take some few minutes to read your comments and see what they're saying there, and I'll continue. So you can send in your question. I'm just reading the comments. All right. Okay, let's talk about swelling. Let's talk about swelling. So I said the fourth symptoms of high cholesterol inside the heart is swelling in legs and feet. So when you have a puffy legs and feet, can also indicate a heart blockage. You know, when your legs and feet is swollen, they become puffy, that's an indication there's a heart blockage. Signaling fluid buildup, because it means there's fluid buildup, okay, because of impaired circulations. All right. Now, this puffiness may also, accentuate a day at a day's end, or following long spells of what? Sitting or standing. So that's why sometimes you have to also visualize and watch your legs. Anytime you notice any swelling or puffiness, okay, go and see your doctor, because that could indicate either two things. Kidney is not functioning properly, because when kidney is not functioning properly, there's a fluid buildup. Okay? When kidney is not functioning properly, there's a fluid buildup in around your feet and your stomach. 3, could check if it is tuberculosis. There's something we call latent tuberculosis. So they have to, investigate and isolate things that does not concern. They have to, investigate what is the cause, and they narrow it down. There's something we call latent tuberculosis that occurs within your stomach area. It's not transferable. Or it could be a heart blockage. It means there's a poor circulations in around your leg. Blood is not circulating properly. So that is why it is important, anytime you see puffiness in around your legs and feet, to see your doctor. So they can rule certain things out and rule certain things in. It's important, do not neglect it. That puffiness in around your legs and feet, the swellness due to poor circulations, and then there's a fluid buildup, especially if your kidneys are not functioning properly. Okay? So those are the fourth warning sign of heart blockage due to high cholesterol inside your heart. All right? So I'm going to give you guys the last one. The last one is if you have change in your skin color. Change in your skin color. I want to see what Rosa was. Rosa, let me read your question properly. Once upon a time, I was told that my heart was swollen. It was bigger than its size. Can it be that my cholesterol was high? And what is the normal reading of cholesterol in our blood? All right. I'm trying to. All right, let me answer Rosa's question, and then I'll go to your question. There are 3 questions here. Now, Rosa is asking, let me go back to her question again. It's asking 2 questions in one. Let me see, it says, let me see what it is. No. Okay, Rosa, let me answer your question. You're asking about what is the normal cholesterol reading. What is the normal cholesterol reading? Okay, now when it comes of cholesterol reading, it's something like diabetics. The reading, it is not one size fits all. It is not one size fits all. My cholesterol reading given to me by my doctor might be different from you due to certain underlying illnesses, or they consider your age, underlying illness, and other factors to say, okay, this is going to be your normal cholesterol reading. But I'm going to give a general cholesterol readings. Okay. Now, a normal cholesterol reading, okay, for adult. For adult, okay, a total cholesterol level below 200, it must be below, for adult, it must be total, we're talking about the total cholesterol must be below 200 milligram per deciliter or 5.2 millimole per liter. So for adults, your total cholesterol should be below 200 milligram per deciliter. Rosa, I'm answering your question. If you're an adult, your total cholesterol should be below 200 milligram per deciliter or 5.2 millimole per liter. And that is considered normal. Now, while your LDL, which is the bad cholesterol, should ideally be below 100 milligram per deciliter. Okay? Okay? Your LDL is your bad cholesterol should be below 100 milligram per deciliter or 2.6 millimole per liter. Okay? While a healthy LDL or good cholesterol is typically considered above 40. Now, what I'm trying to say is that the one I gave you before was the total cholesterol. There's something we call total cholesterol, which should be below 200 milligram per deciliter or 5.2. That's a total cholesterol. It's different from your LDL and HDL. Your LDL is the bad cholesterol, and your bad cholesterol, okay, If your cholesterol is below 100 milligram per deciliter or 2.6 millimole per liter, okay, you know, that's your bad cholesterol. Now your healthy cholesterol, which is a HDL, which is what we call the good cholesterol, is typically considered above 40 milligram per deciliter. So your good cholesterol should be above 40 milligram per deciliter for men and above 50 milligram per deciliter for women. So if you want to have good HDL, it should be above 40 for men, 50 for women. Then your bad cholesterol should be below 100 milligram per deciliter, which is about 2.5, 2.6 millimole per liter. Now, when we talk about total cholesterol, it should be below 200 milligram per deciliter. So there are three numbers I gave you here. One was the total cholesterol for adults, then the second one was for bad cholesterol, and the third one was for good cholesterol. So if you're a man, your good cholesterol, which is HDL, should be above 40 milligram per deciliter for men and above 50 milligram per deciliter for women. Then your bad cholesterol which is the LDL, should be below 100 milligram per deciliter or 2.6 millimole per liter. Now your total cholesterol should be below 200 milligram per deciliter or 5.6 millimole per liter. So those are the three numbers, okay, you have to have ahead. So let's go to the next question, because you say, you asked me the next thing. Let me see it again. That your heart size is bigger than normal. Is it due to your heart cholesterol? Okay. Now, what you have to understand is that high cholesterol is a risk factor for high blood pressure and also coronary heart disease. We call it cardiovascular disease, both which can cause an enlarged heart cardiomyopathy. So, your high cholesterol could be a factor. It may not be the only factor, but it could be one of the factors that you have an enlarged heart. We call it cardiomyopathy. Okay, cardiomyopathy is when you have an enlarged heart. Now, while a single large heart doesn't always mean high cholesterol. That's why I say it could be a factor. Doesn't mean that it's the only factor. It could be one of the factors, but it could not be the only factor. There could be other things that could make it to have an enlarged heart. So that doesn't mean that the high cholesterol condition that causes the heart to work harder. So I'm trying to summarize everything. It could be a factor, it could not be a factor. It could be one of the factors, but you have underlying is that makes to have an enlarged cardiomyopathy, which is a large heart. Okay? So this can lead to the possibility why you have your heart is bigger than that. But there should be other underlying illnesses that can cause you to have an enlarged heart. But high cholesterol is one factor that you can have an enlarged heart. That does not mean that it's the only factor. There are a combination of things that can make it to have an enlarged heart. So doctors are going to rule certain things out, especially when you have cardiomyopathy. They have to rule certain things out to make sure that it is not mainly cholesterol issues. So cardiovascular diseases, there are a lot of things that can cause you to have, especially when you have developed these cardiovascular diseases, there are a lot of things that can make it to have an enlarged heart. And that's what doctors are there to rule certain things out and rule certain things in. So cholesterol could be one factor, but that is not the only factor why you have an enlarged heart, to answer your question. Rosa, I believe I've answered your question. I'm almost rounding up now. Do you have more questions? Because I'm almost rounding up now. Could you guys have more questions? All right, Rosa, you're welcome. I'm waiting for. All right, in the absence of any further questions, I'm going to let you guys go now, and I'm going to see you guys sometime tomorrow for another program. Rosa, thank you very much. Brian, for all those that are watching me on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Tomorrow we're going to have another section, okay? If this is your first time coming across my page, do not forget to subscribe to the page, okay? Join the page if this is your first time coming across the page. So tomorrow, hopefully I'm going to see you guys again for another program. Remember to share the program. Invite your friends to join the program, and also do not forget, if you like the content, to give us a thumbs up. So thank you guys for joining me for this little hour that I have with you guys. Thanks for those that are sending me private messages for my well-being. I do appreciate your concern, and that's why I decided to show up today to tell you guys that I'm doing okay. I'm doing better. All right, I'm doing better. I'm doing okay. Thank you guys for those that have been giving me the support to hang in there. I thank you guys very much. I read all your messages. Those that are sending me private DM messages. And from your experience, sharing your experience, I also draw from it, draw some strength from it to say thank you for your support. I cannot underestimate your total support, and at this time, I could not underestimate your total support. And for those that I don't even know from anywhere, showing me their support. Thank you guys. I really appreciate, and I like words to show my appreciations for your kindness and being there for me. I say thank you guys, and I'm going to see you guys sometime tomorrow. Bye bye. So left for those guys that are on those guys that are on